to talk about how to use the Media 100 system. My name is Larry Townsend.
And I'm John Paisley.
And first we're going to go through and tell you what all this stuff is and the names of it. First we have a mouse, which we use to control and point and click on things. We have the keyboard, which is commands and things like that. And then we have the monitor, 17-inch monitor. We have an external mic. We have an internal Mac system with about 2 gigs of hard drive on the Macintosh hard drive. We have a Jazz drive, we'll get into that later, floppy, and a CD-ROM.
We also have a UPS system, which is your uninterrupted power source. You got your video hard drives, which is 16 gigabytes. You have your Panasonic recorder. You have your Panasonic monitor. These are all your inputs and outputs for your video. And this is your Sony sound buffer.
It comes with 2 speakers. Now let's get started. Now, to learn how to use this Media 100 system and all the software, you probably would have to read this entire book, but instead we made this video so you wouldn't have to. So, let's do it. Once you have the computer all booted up and everything, your teacher should know how to do that, and you should too if you know how to use a computer. Here's how we start a new program. Alright, before you start a new project, always go to the Apple and click on it and go to Media 100. The Macintosh hard drive is just for files that are loaded onto the computer, so we don't use that. And we can use either of the arrays to start a new project, or we can use a Jazz drive, which we'll get into later. But go into array 1. See these various projects, but we're going to start a new project. To start a new project, you go to File, open New Project. That's Test Project. And save it. Project comes up. First thing to do is open a new bin. Bin open, you have to title that bin also something different than what your project is titled. So go ahead and type in something. Once your bin is all labeled to test bin, then we can start digitizing our footage, where all your main processing goes through. And if this isn't open, the first thing you have to do is open up the Edit Suite mode. Digitizing, the first thing we always do. Digitize mode, you push play, and it works as a VCR that you have at home. Here comes our first project. Now to start digitizing the clip onto the computer from the VCR tape, you hit Start. And always leave a little bit of leeway. Alright, stop it. And always leave a little bit in the beginning and in the end, so you have room to edit. Yeah.
Okay, now get ready for green onion chop. Cut this up into 1 tablespoon.
The time code at the top tells you how much time is digitizing when you digitize.
All right.
Stop it.
Okay, now.
When you have a test bin, once they come up, you should label them always to remember what they are, so when you go ahead and put them in your program, you know what they are. You can either label them something individually to help you remember it, or you can just label them alphabetically or by numbers. All of your footage digitized into bins on the computer. You want to edit them down, so you double click on each bin at a time. Once you double click on it, it shows up in the editing suite in its own mode, and you can start editing the clips down.
If you wash your hand, all you got is cheese.
Now see these green arrows? That's how you can slide it frame by frame to where you want it to start and to finish. And once you did that, you hit apply. Also, while you're editing, you can get rid of video to just have the audio, or you can get rid of both audio tracks or just one audio track to have one audio track. To get more editing features, click this little right arrow down here in the corner, and up comes more editing features. You have speed, which 100% is normal speed, and if you go below 100%, say 50%, you have slow motion. If you go above, you have fast forward. It goes much faster. So you can either do that. Alright. You can freeze the frame, you can reverse it, or you can make it forward, which is already forward. Or you can hit strobe right there, which will make a strobe effect. And you also have about 8 different colors: black and white, cobalt, inverse black and white, inverse color, saturation plus 25%, sepia, and standard color. And you can also change the brightness by clicking here and typing in a number, or, which is probably easier, is to slide these arrows back and forth until you see the right color of picture color. Once all that's done, you hit apply. Once you hit apply, you'll see back in the original bin that you were editing, we're doing Cook 1 right now, you'll see a little chip off the top left-hand corner. That means you edited off that beginning. And say you added a color or saturation to it. You should see the color change in the bin too. Once we have all of our bins all edited and digitized off the tape, and we don't have anything else to digitize, the next thing we have to do is put them all in a program. So John, why don't you start talking about a program?
Sounds good. Alright, Laird. Well, to start a new program, first you have to go to File, and then go to New Program. And then it opens it up for us. To save your program, you usually want to title your program. So to title your program, you're going to go to Save Program As. And now your project is now titled.
As you see, our project is now labeled Test Project 3. And before we get started, I always like to open up these little arrows and audio tracks and the video tracks, because it gives you a better overview of what's going on. As you see, we have all our clips numbered in order, 1, 2, 3, and so forth, so on and so forth. Now what you're going to do is, to start with your program, you're going to want to drag your clips down into your program, into the video space. And always leave a little leadway in the beginning for, say, a fade in for a transition, but we'll get to that later.
Drag all these together so they touch each other evenly.
Says footage in your program in one of the clips that you really don't need. Instead of going back and redigitizing everything and redoing it all over again, what you can do is you can split your clip. What you would do is you would get to the part where you want to go. You click on the clip in the program. Go up to Program, go to Split Clip, and click on that. As you see, the clip that we have clicked on right now is the clip that we don't want in the clip. So, to delete the clip, all you do is press delete on the keyboard, and it deletes the clip for you. Alright, now that we got all our clips down into the program, it's time to jazz it up a little.
Alright, now we're going to show you how to do transitions. First, we're just going to show you a few samples of the transitions that we can do. Let's put a little music on. Yeah. Alright, go ahead. Transitions are quite simple. They're used to spicing up your projects and to add a little glimmer to each and every one of your cuts in between clips. Once that's open, you can start dragging your clips underneath each other. See, we cannot drag them under because the audio would overlap. So the first thing you have to do is unsync the clip. Once that's done, you can take and drag this under and make sure you overlap the two clips that you want to make a transition with. And you take the triangle and you move it over so that you have an even enough space in between each one, and you double click on the triangle. Once the edit suite's in transition mode, you always want, this is where you control how long your clip's going to be, or how long the transition is. I like to make them long, especially in this. And you have so many different transitions. There's 3 categories. This one is dissolve and fast X. Click on this, and you have add to dissolve, dissolve, fast X, dither, dissolve, none. You kind of have to play with these to get the feel for it. I like the regular dissolve. That's just fade in from picture to picture. And then you have pushes and wipes. And here we have zigzag blocks all the way up to a band wipe. And when you select one of these, sometimes it comes up a green arrow. That's where the transition will start from. Or you have little squares you want the transition to start from, up here in the right border, or you might have 2 for where you want it to start and to finish. Once you have picked the transition, you always hit render. Once that's done, you will see the transition come to bit, and you will see an abbreviation of what transition you did. So let's see how it looks.
Okay, now.
And there it is. Also with transitions, you can spice them up by only using 20% or 40%, or any percentages you want with the transition, and it differs them up instead of just doing the complete transition from 100%. And I'll show you how to do that. Once you're in transition mode in the edit suite, the first thing you want to do is to click on this bottom right hand arrow and it opens up a whole new selection of special effects. And this is all the ways you control your transitions. Right now we're doing sliding boxes, so if we want to make the range to make it start from 35% and start from 77%, and we render it. It will start at different spaces.
And soy sauce.
And also, with certain transitions, such as doors, no, not as doors, but as multi-spin, you can make a border. Add the softness of the border, the width of the border, and then make it any color that you wish. Come into color coding, just move the arrow, point and click. And you have borders on your transition when they appear. Also, if you want to crop the top and the bottom, click here, put a percentage of the screen that you want cropped. Let's crop the top and the bottom as we see in professional movies. And we hit apply. And see how the little black line, you can make it bigger or smaller, on the top here has been created. And that kind of adds a little variety to our picture. Also, with the range, you can go to dissolve, and this works really well. You go to dissolve and you go to 50%. 50% dissolve. And you see that? if you drag the clip all the way underneath, you can have half a clip and half a clip. So you can have two pictures in one, and you can be creative with that by putting like two faces into one, or putting a face over the world or something. And you can just get really creative with borders, transitions, dissolves, using the 50% ranges, and cropping things, and you'll be on your way to better movie magic. That's pretty much transitions. There's a lot to it, and it will take you some time to get a hold of things, but it'll just take some practice, and you'll definitely get the hang of it. There will be some more things that you will learn that we have not said in here. There's much more you can do with this system, and the more you explore, the more you'll find out, and the more creative you are, the more you'll get done. So good luck making your movies. Now, John, what is trim mode? That's one thing I don't understand at all.
Well, I always use trim mode for whenever I split my clips. What happens is sometimes you don't split it at the right exact spot that you want it. So what you do is you'll go into trim mode, and then this way you get to play with it and get it to the exact point to where you want to cut it.
All right.
As you can see, we cut out the part where Laird was screaming and yelling, so there's a little extra part in here to where Laird is still screaming and yelling that we don't actually want in the program. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into trim mode, and I'm going to cut it down to the exact point to where he's not screaming and yelling. And I think that should do it.
All right. Okay, now.
Like brand new. At the beginning of the program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a black clip. And in this black clip, I'm going to add a graphic. And now what I'm going to do is click on the apple, click here, and just drag it out. Double click on the title to make it go over to the edit suite so you can edit your graphics. And then you hit edit to write what you want to write on the screen. This is your toolbar in your graphics edit suite, and what you have here is your little pointer, which enables you to move your text up and down once you get your text written. This here is the text box. It lets you write what you want to write in the text. This is your cursor. It lets you put the cursor to the exact point if you want to edit what you said. This one right here is the lines. It makes you put it on which line you want to put it on. This is the help box. This is for the this here is for the pictures in Adobe if you want to import pictures later on, and all the rest are the color tools. Making the box where I'm going to write my text in. There's my box. Now, I can go up here and change the style and the font and everything like that, which as of now I'm just going to leave it the way it is.
We should change the color, John, and make it yellow to brighten up things.
Okay. You can change the color by clicking on the color palette.
That looks pretty good. Hit apply, I think.
To save memory, instead of saving everything on the hard drive in the computer, you can use a Jazz drive. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use a Jazz drive. Now first you're going to take it and just stick it in your computer. Now we're waiting for it to pop up on the screen. Once it pops up on the screen, just double click on it. There it is. And you're all set. Right now we don't have anything saved in there.
Once you have a project open, you have to go to media settings to change the settings, because if you don't change the media settings, it's automatically going to save on the hard drive of the computer. So you just go to edit, click on media settings, and you'll see down here, you'll see you have a jazz drive here, and you want to click everything on the jazz drive, press OK. Now any changes we're going to do for this are automatically going to be saved on the jazz drive.
Alright, once your project's all over with and done, it's all open, first thing you want to do is click on the program and go to the very beginning of the project. You can either hit home on the keyboard or just slide it down. And now this is how we master a tape. You go to File, go to Master to Tape, and if you don't have titles render, it'll try and render them themselves.
Once that's done, your mastering main board will come up, and if they're not already clicked, first thing you want to do is click the X in leader and make a duration time. This is set at 5 seconds, which is pretty good for the beginning, and a trailer time, which is about 5 seconds, which is pretty good. Maybe 10 seconds is good too. And then you should see your total duration time at the bottom for how long the project is. You always want to start it either at the beginning of the tape or if you have it at a set position in the current tape. Once you're ready, you hit master.
Before mastering a tape, you always want to come over to the switchboard and change the bottom switch over to balance so that they're both balanced before you master a tape. If you don't, you will only get one audio track. Then you should see the master position of the tape and the duration and everything go. And when you see the blocks go to the end, then you know your tape is done.
Now that there was how to use the Media 100 editing system. Now Laird and I just gave you a brief description on how to use everything. There's no way we could show you everything to do on this Media 100 system. The possibilities are endless. There's so many things you could do. Isn't that right?
That's right, John. There's so much things that you can learn. And it's all it's going to take is time and your own effort and your own creativity is what's going to help you learn how to use this. This will help you get started and help you go on further with your production. So thanks for watching.
Have a good evening.